The other good thing that I find to do is take a picture of your dog. Try and get it stacked as well as you can. If you don't have any help, what you can try to do is prop your phone up, or if you've got a little tripod for it, stick it on there, and you can even set it to video and then just take a still screenshot of your video. I find that it's really helpful to look at pictures, even more so than to look at the dog in real life, because, I don't know, it's just different than your eye seeing the dog. So again, I feel like he still is a little bit bulky, but I think that the basic idea of the shape is there. So I'm not going to be too overly picky about that. And you don't need to leave just a ton of hair here, otherwise it's just gonna make your dog look longer, and it's gonna make it look a bit less balanced, and it's gonna make it look like you're trying to give your dog a front, rather than your dog just having a front, which we all know that fronts aren't always the best in poodles, but you don't want to make it obvious. He's got a better shoulder than he does the return of upper arm. I'm just going to stack them for you quickly so you guys can kind of see what we've got currently. You want it to be a smooth transition between the top line and the neck hair. So this is awkward with the camera being there, but I'm just going to try and just smooth this stuff in a bit to start creating that bend. And as you can see, I started the neck sorry, I'm standing like an idiot. I started the neck back, like his actual neck starts about there, but that generally isn't the best place to put your neck, because generally you want it to fall over where your elbow would be, because you want to show your shoulder lining up with your elbow to show that it's got good shoulder to good return of arm. And since usually our poodles don't have the perfect front end build, we want to create that look. So I'm just going to keep fluffing him. I'm not going to take too much off of his neck coat. It's hard to do this when I'm trying to stay out of the way of the camera. But from our line that we did here, I'm just going to round it in to the neck. You don't want to be going into the neck like this, otherwise again we're going to end up with that mohawky look. So you want to have your scissor kind of going flat. So you want it to kind of go flat rather than to be like angling it in. So again, we don't end up with this super skinny little neck coming in too much that way. You want it to just come straight. So again, I'm not going for the perfect scissor work, so that's pretty good on that end. And then I'm going to try to come over here. You guys can still see what I'm doing. Raise this up a bit. Angle it down. Okay. Hopefully that'll help. So I'm just kind of blending these in so that there's a smooth transition. I wish he was standing a little bit better because he's not really helping my cause, standing with a bit of a roach in his back, which he just sometimes tends to do when we're stacked, especially if he's starting to get a little bit tired. But I'm just blending this in. Again, trying to have his neck and his head be where you kind of want them to be. But you can see how it kind of smoothly blends there. And then when his neck isn't jutted forward, you can see kind of that line that we're creating. Ooh. So then, again, I'm not going to take off too much neck. The biggest thing you want to make sure that you do is that you get both sides of the neck even. So you don't want one side of the neck leaning in more and one side of the neck kind of leaning out more. You want it to be just very even, almost kind of parallel lines to each other, and it just tapers slightly as it comes to the back here. So I'm just going to lightly tip in the neck hair because I want to mostly keep that neck hair. You really, again, everything needs to be in balance. So you want to keep the neck hair to give you that balanced look. So I'm just going to brush it all kind of down and forward, but then I'm going to pick it up a bit because, again, it's all about not accidentally cutting off places that you don't want to cut off. So I'm just going to go in here and just shape the eyes. And as you can see, I'm holding my scissors like this, not like this, but like this, because I only want to scoop out so he can see. I don't want to be whacking back my shape here. So I'll sometimes turn them this way and just get in there. And then in here. Because you only want it kind of just enough that kind of they can see. And again, I'm just trying to pull down any loose hairs, and then I'm just tidying up what needs tidying up. And then I can just kind of slightly turn this way, slightly round this in so that it's not sticking way too far out. And this is a bit hard to do when you're videoing, but you want to pick it up enough that's not just going to fall into their eyes as soon as they've kind of shaken out. But you don't want to take it up too much either. So you can see how that goes kind of there. And again, just fiddle. I like to fiddle with things rather than take too much off at once. But so now he can see, and it's picked up a bit off of his face. So then we'll go and do the sides. I usually just flip an ear back lightly. If you pull it too much, you can kind of pull things out of whack. So I just take the ear back lightly, comb it down a bit, maybe fluff it out. Now I'm going to scissor the clipper line. I don't want to take ear hair, and I don't want to take the hair back by over the ear because that has to eventually blend into our ear. So I'm only making sure to take just the hair in front of the ear off. And then I might gently round this up again, not going near that ear hair, the hair on top of the ear, just to in front of the ear, and just lightly taking some of that off. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Again, not pulling it back too hard, and only taking off the line here, and none of the hair by the ear at all. Otherwise, you're just going to have a really hard time blending that in. So then once I've got kind of those clipper lines in, I'm going to flip my ears back down. take my spray and we're going to just fluff it all, including at least the top of your ear hair. You want to fluff that all so that it's sitting where you want it to be sitting so that you can blend it in smoothly. So he doesn't need too much blending in, but as you can see, the ear just becomes part of the head. You don't scissor them separately, you just scissor them all together. He doesn't have a ton of hair that needs to come off here, but that's kind of what you're doing. Again, you're just fluffing the ear hair. See how I'm doing the ear hair and the head hair together, and then I'm just picking it up and putting it. You don't want to, again, you don't want to be pulling all this stuff over and then scissoring that in, because when you pick it back up, this is going to be cutting in. So you don't want to be pulling it over like you would with, you know, a pet top knot. If you use that method for pet top knots. So that is, that is approximately kind of what you're going for on that side. Because I've already fluffed it now, I'm just going to scissor that stuff in a little bit more. And then you're going to repeat the same thing on this side. I haven't done this neck yet, but that's okay. Again, picking it up. My biggest frustration is trying to make both sides even. I tend to over fluff and pull on one side more than the other. So that's just something I try to be aware of, is just to make sure that it is looking very even and that I'm scissoring it as even as I can as well. I haven't done the neck on this side, but again, I'm just treating the ear hair as if it's an extension of the head. And then if you need, you can round in these. You don't want to cut in super short on like the head area here, because you don't want it to look like super round and short here and then it has to suddenly bubble out to that. But you just want to make sure that it's not hanging down past the eye line, and that it just has a nice shape to it, blending into the stuff that's over the ear. And then again, I'm probably not going to take too much off the top of his head, because it's not looking all that bad. But I'm just going to tip it in, round it in just a bit, just so that we have a decent shape. And again, it should all be, you know, the head needs to be in balance with the body. So if you need to take off more on the head, or if you need to leave more on the head, you just got to figure out what your dog needs. So resisting. His neck looks fairly long because we've got that quite in short, and then just, he looks fairly elegant and in good shape. So hopefully you found that helpful, and I'm sorry that we did the clipping part without having the video running, but yeah, hope that was helpful.